and
Oddworld.
Hey Oddballs, I'm your host Jensen, and welcome to episode 82. We are jumping straight in today. I am an Aquarius, and it is Aquarius season, and it's also you January 24th babies' birthdays. So happy birthday, and we're going to get to know you from the birthday book. So here we go.
Happy birthday.
Those born on this day are imaginative to the point of faintness and are fascinated by topics that less free-thinking people might dismiss as being oddball. Indeed, so accustomed that they are being branded eccentric when they moot their wildly original ideas and theories that, to avoid experiencing the hurt of negative reaction, they frequently keep quiet about what it is that really excites them. This defensive mechanism may be effective in the short term, but such suppression of the true self will ultimately cause emotional damage. The paradox governing their personalities and behavior is that although January 24th people are genuinely greatly admired for their original qualities, they are reluctant to believe that the people around them appreciate them just as they are. They may completely reject such esteem, either suspecting underlying motives or feeling that their essence has been misunderstood. Their sensitivity, love of nature, and genuine desire to work for good propels many January 24th people into working with animals, with whom they feel a deep empathy and trust that they sometimes feel are lacking in their relationships with their human peers. They thrive best in those small-scale, more personal, working environments in which they do not feel inhibited or under pressure to perform artificially. Similarly, they need to be constantly reassured by the love and support of their friends and family if they are to achieve their true potential. Their virtues are empathetic, unique, imaginative. Their vices are oversensitive, hesitant, aloof. So again, happy birthday, you January 24th babies, my Aquarius buddies. And we're going to go ahead and move on to stories.
This comes from ThatSadCarGuy on Reddit.
To start this story off, I have moved a lot, and this story talks about two, and a little third one, of my ghost experiences. I was about 4 when this happened, so I can't remember much about it. But my parents have told me that we lived in a 2-story house in the woods. There weren't many other people around us, but we still had some neighbors. My mother has told me that I used to play a lot with a ghost called Katie, or something like that. Me and my sister, who is 3 years younger than me, were the only people that saw her. My mother remembers me talking about a pretty average height white ghost who had a white dress that was almost to the ground. As I said, I don't remember much about it, but I do remember after a while, we went to a graveyard, and as usual, Katie came with us. But when we started leaving, my mother asked, "Won't you wait for Katie?" And I had answered, "She told me she's going to stay here for now." And I never saw her again. The next story starts when I was about 6 or 7, maybe 8. I lived in a small apartment on the first floor. There was only one bedroom which was filled with stuff, so my family and I all slept in the living room on the sofa that opens up into a bed. I was the only one sleeping next to a wall. On the other side of the wall was the kitchen. So pretty much every night I slept there, I got a nightmare. And I always woke up at 3 a.m. and then go to sleep later on. In the nightmares, there was a tall man, I would say about 190 centimeters or 6'2", who always wanted to trap me or hurt me. The one I remember exactly is where my grandma and I were in the house, and it was pouring rain. Suddenly, I remembered that we left our shoes outside. When I opened the door to grab them, there he was. A tall, completely black creature. It looked like a person's shadow. Randomly, there was a trash can next to the door, and he put me in there and locked me inside. At that point, it was 3 a.m., so I woke up. Once my mother tried sleeping on that spot, she also had a nightmare and woke up at 3 a.m. But exactly before we were about to move away, I fell asleep, and in the dream, I kind of woke up like a ninja and jumped out of the bed ready to fight. But as I was searching for him, I saw someone walking out of the kitchen. The kitchen light was randomly on, and it was the tall man with a long beard and long hair. And turns out, he just wanted a friend to play with. In the dream, still, we agreed to meet up some other time and spend some time together. But I never saw him again. Later, when I was talking to my mother about it, she told me yes, there was a ghost portal in that apartment. Also was on the second floor and third floor. Can't remember exactly. Also, forgot to mention that we saw many things get lost in there. I would throw a ball on top of the wardrobe, and when I went to look for it, it just didn't exist anymore. Since then, I have always believed in ghosts, and the only appearance of a ghost I have had after that has been in my current apartment. I was doing some editing behind my desk, and I decided to put both of my headphones on for the full experience. I usually just have on one. But when I did so, I heard a loud bang exactly behind me. And when I turned to look, there was not a single thing that had fallen over or broken. Also, the neighbors dropping something makes a completely different sound. I've never heard or seen that ghost afterwards. I don't disturb them and they don't disturb me. When I was talking to my mother about ghosts, she told me that once in this apartment, when she almost fell asleep on the sofa in the living room while watching TV, something had shaken her up. But she was all alone out there. And after that, she has had a feeling like someone is watching her when she is watching TV, which doesn't happen to me. Moral of the story is, my experience with ghosts is not that impressive, but still worth talking about. Well, I think it's impressive. I think really any ghost story is impressive. But that being said, I really like this story. This person has had quite a few little experiences happen here and there. And the fact that they're totally just being like, oh, well, it's not that impressive. Excuse me. I think it's pretty impressive because the fact that you had basically a little ghost girl that you played with when you were a child, and then she stayed back at the cemetery when you guys left. I'm sorry, that's just not a normal thing. That's pretty cool. And then you also saw a tall man when you guys moved into the next place, and all this guy wanted was a friend, even though he scared the hell out of you and stuck you in a trash can. Come on, these are some pretty good ones. If you aren't impressed by your own ghost stories, that's perfectly fine, but I feel like you should still share them. I get tons of anonymous stories, more than I thought I would, honestly. I get a lot of anonymous stories, and it's great. And if you want to just message me, let me know your story just to get it off your chest, and either I can just tell the story on the podcast, keep it anonymous, or I can just read it. Hello, I love a good ghost story. Obviously, that's why I'm here. But yeah, seriously, my door is always open. Send me what you got. I'm here, all ears. But anyhow, if you have anything to say about this story or any ideas, or if you've had a story like this one, let me know, and we're going to move on to the next one.
This comes from 1999 Morna on Reddit.
My partner and I were coming back from delivering papers. We always do it late at night, as we both work during the day. Anyway, it was about 10 p.m. when we were walking back, and we saw a little girl who looked about 9 walking down the street. I thought, this was weird. Why would someone let their young child walk around so late? I said to my partner we should go see if she needed help. But then suddenly, it was no longer a little girl, but a grown man. The little girl turned into a man right in front of us. We decided to stay back behind him a bit until he was out of sight. That was one of the most scariest things I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah, that's going to be an absolutely not for me. The fact that they saw this little girl change into an old man in front of them. No. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, but those little short stories are so scary still. It doesn't matter the length of your story. It's the experience. So, yeah, I'm just saying. I have no idea what that thing is. I'm going to assume a shapeshifter of some kind, which is terrifying. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'm trying to find more of these cryptid and mythical creature stories because I don't really have a lot of those on my podcast. And I've been doing some research to get more of them because it's a paranormal podcast. And while I do love and thoroughly enjoy a good ghost story, I love all things paranormal, and hearing the things that people are, it seems like a little afraid to come out and say that happened to them because like a ghost story is a little more believable than, I don't know, seeing a shape-shifting person, or I'm just using that as an example, or I don't know, stepping into a fairy world. I don't know. I don't know what you're experiencing out there. That's why I want to hear it. So if you are, you can also remain anonymous. You can send me your messages and your stories or whatever and remain completely anonymous. And also, I don't have to share them. You can just send them to me just to get them off your chest because I love it. I love it. But anyhow, I'm going to shut up. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And well, it's an odd world after all.
Oddballs, go follow us on It's an Odd World After All podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Also, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If you have a story you would like to share, email us at it'sanoddworldafterall@gmail.com or message us on one of our social platforms. Don't forget to share us with your family and friends. And check out our website, it'sanoddworldafterall.com.